Okay, I want to say hi again everybody, okay? It's only me, Richard Clark, or Wushu Richard. In this video, I'm going to show you some more Kung Fu techniques, okay, training. But what I'm going to do, okay, is I'm really hot here, so please bear with me, okay? I'm not wearing my top here, okay? I'm not the toughest looking guy, but it's just really, really hot here in China, as I say, at this time of year. What I'm going to do, okay, here in my room, is I'm just going to show you some simple free flow, like walking I like to do. You know, like my training, okay, like I do so many different Kung Fu systems. I do like other systems too, not only the Chinese systems, I also like the Japanese, Korean, Thai, Filipino, whatever, you know, American, whatever styles, okay, I'll find all martial arts training very useful. But for me, I focus a lot on Wing Chun, as you know, Wing Chun and Tai Chi, okay, Tai Chi. I have had some basic Bagua training in the past, but I'm not really an in-depth, you know, a knowledgeable person about Bagua. You know what I mean? I just have, I've had basic training in the basics, and everybody says basics are like the most important anyway, fundamentals in martial arts. But then again, it's better to know, the more you know of a style, the better. I practice Wing Chun and I practice some Tai Chi, and I practice all my other arts, as you know, my animal styles of Kung Fu I do, weapons training, bit of basic Wushu training I've had in the past, a long fist. And other stuff I've learned is like from stuff like online, from friends and stuff, such as like Aikido and Hapkido and Ninjutsu, plus I'm a fan of Kempo. So all of these arts I love very, very much, okay? I've had basic Qigong training, I've had forms training and weapons training in both northern and southern Kung Fu. I did kickboxing, heavy duty, hardcore kickboxing when I was younger. I do like Muay Thai as well, but for like Muay Thai I don't like kicking with the shins, that's just me, okay? I don't like it, I prefer to kick with the feet. But it's all good, as I say, you know, whatever. I love, you know, kickboxing I did before. Karate was my first ever art that I learned. I'm a big fan of, you know, I mean, I'm really, really into the philosophy of yin and yang, yin yang. I mean, it's inspired me in my life so much. I've got my own life philosophies as such as well too. What I'm going to be doing though here, okay, but in this video, as I said, I'm going to show you some simple like stepping and walking using Bagua kind of tactics. But you've got to understand, okay, I'm not trying to show like exact Bagua, you know, Bagua Jung. I'm not doing that. Okay? I'm not an expert in the system, but I have put videos on in the past of me training and me actually studying too, humbly, with teachers, and that with a teacher here in China that was. But so I've had some basic Bagua training, and it was like really good training. It helped me in my training in the past. But what I do is I practice a lot of like Tai Chi kind of essence, my own free flowing way of Tai Chi. So RC Tai Chi Combat I call it, and you've got RC Wing Chun too. RC being my name, Richard Clark, Wushu Richard. So I like to combine these systems, as I say, plus a bit of the crane and animal styles, as you know. I've been sharing some tiger recently and other stuff, okay? But you will have seen me in my videos doing all kinds of training, even so far, like free flow and like Wushu, you know what I mean, karate, kickboxing, as I say, all of this. So let's get on with this. I'm going to go here and I'm going to show you some training that I like to do, like walking the line. That's what I like to call it, walking the line. I won't call it walking the circle, because it's like straight lines becoming circles and circles becoming straight lines, if you know what I'm trying to say. Find the inside and the outside, the ball, you know, that you're holding, and the combat, the circle you're fighting in, directness of Wing Chun, the fluidness of like you know, Tai Chi again. You see like in again use you know, the flowiness. Tai Chi is like the embodiment of like yin and yang anyway, they say. I remember once it was once said, you know, that by great martial artists, there's people online and people that have been saying this, and I think it's true. It's like Wing Chun and Wing Chun and Xing Yi. Okay, I don't have hardly any knowledge in Xing Yi. I only learned a little bit of the hands, but I only learned really the main stepping of like Xing Yi helped me when I learned with my Bagua teacher before. One of the teachers I had, but it was like, it was said, you know, that Xing Yi, you know, goes in a straight line when they're fighting. It's the same as Wing Chun goes in a straight, direct, more so line, okay? Where in the fighting pattern, the structure, as I say, in a real fight you can move freely, of course, in any direction, but for the training, you know, that's what had to be done. So Bagua, you're talking about walking in a circle. So what they said is, like, they said, you know, Xingyi goes through the room, Bagua walks around the room, and Tai Chi fills the room. I think that was such a wonderful philosophical way they stated that, expressed that artistically with words. Tai Chi especially they're talking about being like water flowing around the structure and the pressure of the opponent's movement or anything in life. Basically, philosophy, not letting anything move your heart, not being rigid. You're flowing around and finding a way, but it's just you're flowing with a roundness and going straight directly in, flowing in. So like Wing Chun, sticky hands, all of that, you can find roundness as well as directness in there. And in Tai Chi the same, pushing hands and all, you can find the same thing, roundness as well as straightness, and straightness through the roundness. So you see what I'm trying to say, yeah? Kempo talks about a lot of that too, in terms of circles and lines and the way you block and strike and all that. Ninjutsu talks about, being tactical and not letting the opponent see you, so what deceptiveness and being smart, So these philosophies are important. Don't just think I'm sitting here talking this shit. I'd rather do this first rather than go and, start and do a show on the camera and that's it, and you just don't know what I'm talking about. Application is application. It doesn't even matter if you show application on video. It doesn't matter if you show sparring on video. It doesn't matter if you show world-class, world championship boxing fights on video. It doesn't matter if you watch street fights on a video. It doesn't matter what you show on a video. A video is a video. Word of mouth is word of mouth. Even physical example is physical example. It's a believing is seeing is believing, but but feeling is the truth. Yeah. So you've got to feel it for yourself, not just see it. You've got to feel in your training what works for you. It might not work. You might lose faith in something because you tried it once or twice and it didn't work in that situation. You know what I'm saying? It's like you get into a fight with somebody. You're a boxer. Prove boxing, MMA if you want. If you do MMA, I'm not a fan of MMA. I'm just saying, right? I prefer the traditional arts and that, and for self-defense and self-preservation on the street. In life, I'm just saying, it's like, you know what I mean. If you learn boxing or you learn MMA, one day you might get into a fight on the street and you lose, or you get put in hospital, but hopefully never. But put in hospital by a couple of guys on a couple of different occasions, and you lose all faith in MMA. So that's wrong, isn't it? Because whatever I'm saying, any art I'm saying a lot of people out there in the world do MMA now. I don't like it, okay? I'm not a fan of it. I have to say that I go against, I disagree with a lot of world-renowned traditional martial artists out there and kung fu practitioners and martial artists who say, oh yeah, you need to learn, because times change and things change. Even Bruce Lee said that. I don't believe that at all. I believe, things just, it's not talking about MMA or what it is. Anything can work in any different given situation, and that all it is. It's not about saying that you must understand this, it's a bit, for me, okay, from my point of view, true traditional kung fu and traditional martial arts were the best, the ancient time. That's just my point of view, okay? You can't say, can traditional martial arts beat an MMA fighter? It depends who goes up against who and what art's going to win. You see what I'm saying? But to me, I feel the traditional martial arts, a lot of them, especially kung fu systems, were perfect. So I'm not saying when you see me dancing around the room and doing my wushu and all this, I'm not saying that's the stuff, man. Look at my skinny bone. This is me. I'm going to take on an MMA champion, and I'm not trying to say that. I'm just trying to say that a true martial arts and a kung fu master would be able to deal with all situations, what come at him on a round line, a straight line, and just be standing up, and it'd be like effortlessly, the snap, snap, crack, not even that, it's just like the wind. The guy just falls in, throws himself over, onto the ground. You don't need to go down onto the ground with a guy. I'm not saying jiu-jitsu and ground fighting is all bad and useless, but I'm just trying to say, if you're in a riot situation where people come with crowbars to beat you the fuck out, it's not going to work against all of them, is it? But what I'm trying to say also is, those skills are very useful too. If you get knocked down to the ground, you have to know some fighting moves, then great, if you can do some jiu-jitsu or MMA, fair enough. Judo and jiu-jitsu, what I'm trying to say though, yeah? You don't need to run up to someone and take them down to the ground. You might say you feel confident with that, comfortable with those kind of moves, okay? But it's like, at the end of the day, it's not really necessary. If you're able to stand up, why would you go and lay down with somebody? The way I see it is because you're not good enough on your feet. And that's the same way as an MMA guy. A lot of them would say that against stand-up fighters, right, and traditional kung fuists like me. The MMA guys will say, "Oh yeah, well the reason you got knocked out, the reason is because you weren't good enough on your feet and all that." You know what I mean? And I totally agree with that. If someone's not good enough on their feet, then they're going to get taken down to the ground, or they have to go down to the ground fighting or whatever, be whoever takes who down, because they're not good enough on their feet. And that's the only reason you'd go down to the ground, is what I'm saying. Why would you go and take someone down to the ground? You say, "Oh, to impose your power on them, to win against them." If someone's trying to mug you or attack you on the street, then fair enough. If it's one against one or whatever, then that might be whatever technique works for you. It might work. You might tickle the guy. You might burst out, telling jokes or whatever, mind games, and decept him and win the day. You might go into ground fighting and it might win the day. You might go into a boxing combination of Muay Thai striking situation, stand out and you might win the day. You might run away and it might win the day. But I'm just trying to say, to put yourself in a position going down to the ground when human beings, from the word go, from being a baby, you know, learning to walk, you know, stand up. As kids, you know, that's what we learn to do. We're not supposed to lay them down and crawl on the floor and go on our backs like turtles, whatever the fuck. You know what I mean? Even turtles ain't doing that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not saying you're hiding in your shell by doing that. I'm just trying to say, you know, I don't think it's really that, you know, important, you know, to be going down to the ground. You want to be standing up and standing your ground and effortlessly, you know, because ground fighting to me, although there's a lot of skill in it and you might say leverage and all this, but sometimes I see a lot of people there just beating blood out of each other's head, and not only that, it's just holding each other down, restraint, who's the strongest. You see a lot of MMA guys are tough. I'm not making excuses for my skinniness, I'm kind of proud of it in a way. You see some people that are really big built and so strong, but it's like that's the only thing they have. All it is to me is like wrestling, like, you know, old days, you know, no technique, just like, I'm not saying there's no technique, I'm just trying to say back in the day, you know, scraps, you know, just big bulky guys, just, no offence to that, some people are just big like that anyway, some people want to be that big and strong. You know, when I see like, you know, Arnold Schwarzenegger back in the day in the weightlifting championship, bodybuilding, that's just amazing, it's just incredible, and the physical skill is great, but what I'm trying to say is, martial arts is about the technique, you know, and flowing and absorbing the opponent's energy, using them against them, and, you know, if you're able to effortlessly win, why struggle and all that? It's like wrestling on the ground. So they're going down wrestling on the ground. And I'm not putting down any form of wrestling. I'm not even putting down sumo wrestling. A different kind of arts, and you will do what you do. So yes, I might as well shut up and stop saying this now. But what I'm doing is not slating people, putting them down. I'm just standing up for traditional martial arts because I believe in it, and also just putting statements out, facts that, you know, they think about things realistically. Think about things realistically. You've got two guys here who are both equally skilled in ground fighting and stand up, and two guys stand up, get attacked by two different guys. It could be the same guy, you know what I mean? What would be more, if you're good at stand up, why the hell would you go down to ground fighting? Well, obviously because the other guy's ground fighting is better than your stand-up, you know what I'm trying to say, yeah? But I'm just saying, if you're able to beat the guy, that's the most important thing by whatever means necessary. A true, you know, kung fu master, someone who's a stand-up, you know, expert, let's say, would have excellent knowledge in different techniques, like ground fighting, just like ninjutsu and stuff too. So for me, having a lack of knowledge in ground fighting and all this, yeah, it's a bad thing for me. It's one of my letdowns, you know, for me. And but it's like I still have some knowledge because Kung Fu helps me to do that. It's not so rigid like you're stuck in one system. Like some people might do boxing. I like boxing too. I just want to say, some people might do boxing and they'll say, well, there's no throws or anything in it, you know, kicks or throws, and they say, well, that lets them down. But you know, but ultimately they still will have the knowledge, right? They will maybe have knowledge to be able to pick up things like footwork and stuff, and they'll know how to throw a kick. But I was just trying to say, it's like, boxing isn't teaching you that. Those other techniques, it just teaches you what it is. I'm a massive fan of boxing. I'm not saying I'm not for the self-defense and fitness, but it's like, you know, from other martial art, like traditional martial arts, they're teaching you more so to be, you know what I mean, to be more all-rounded as a fighter. So a traditional like master, a kung fu master, a ninjutsu master would be able to deal with a situation, in any situation, they fall down to the floor and they'll still be able to win, you know what I mean? But it's not to say that you go down to the floor, because that's just ridiculous, you know, in my opinion, okay? If you don't need to. So I'm talking a lot in this video, man. So I'll say, you know, hold on 1 second while I just check outside that window. I'm looking at something. Hold on. Yeah. There's somebody out there. Hold on, yo. It's okay. It's just my neighbours and stuff outside. But you know what I'm saying, though, yeah, guys. I'm, you know, doing my training at home. I train a lot of traditional kung fu and martial arts, but it's like I just do what I do. You know, I'll be realistic. But what I'm trying to say is flow, okay? Learn your stepping, you know what I'm saying? You learn your stepping, your circle walking, your stance walking, how to sidestep, how to intercept the attack, like Bruce Lee said again, you know, intercepting fist and all that. I'm just trying to say be free and flowing. Don't think about practicing something that Bruce Lee put out, Jeet Kune Do only. Just think about what Bruce Lee was doing himself. Think if you were Bruce Lee. And think if you were saying, you know, I'm going to make this style today where we combine this and that from every way and just flow. I'm not saying the stuff you see him do, you know, kickboxing and then you go into grappling. I'm not saying that. I'm just trying to say think about what is capable. But the only way you're going to know is through your self-training, the control of your body, your fitness, your balance, your flow, your flexibility, all that. And then in a real fight, when you're training with people, sparring at least, feeling where the openings are. That's the only way you're going to learn. So when I'm training, I try to train it all. Plus my mind and focus and breath and everything, you know, within me. But what it is, like when I'm training, I'll use things to help me, like a tree. I might be training my conditioning on a tree for striking. I might be using it, you know, you might do isometrics training. I know, Demsley Highbrow, I know you do some of that. You know what I mean? There's people out there who use like heavy punch bags and stuff. I like anything heavy and hard that's going to toughen me up. But it's like relaxed and soft and not being too rigid in your training and flowing. That's what I'll say. And being able to flow into any position and work into, into relative useful positions that you're able to defend and attack in terms of combat, but you're learning the balance of your body through the harmony, and that, you know, it's like the philosophy affects the way you interpret that for your body, but your body in the training affects how your mind thinks and how you express yourself in your daily life activities too. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying, man? So in this video, okay, I'm not going to actually show you any moves because I've been speaking for a long time now, okay? I've been speaking for a long time now. But, you know, in the next video I will show you some of those moves, okay? We're really going to do it, okay? Some of my stepping and movement, okay? So let's see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Train hard and